Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November will fare out for Aries. Now, Mars is going forth from your sign in Cancer and it is debilitated over there. If you have been through my Jupiter retrograde video or have read the blog consolidated for the Jupiter retrograde reading, you are already aware that you are questioning your satisfaction throughout life at the moment heavily. Moreover, you were also planning to make some very strong financial decisions and choices in your life, and that is what this Mars transit is trying to support you towards as well. There might be some expenses here and there to repair within your house, such as, for example, if you were thinking that, I will not suffer from any unexpected expenses, let me go ahead and invest in the stock market at the moment, you might have to rethink your strategy because there would be small issues suddenly coming up, such as you need to replace the tube light, you need to replace the aqua guard, you need to replace some materials here and there. You might also think about replanning or even reconstruction in some cases. Moreover, you should really avoid any impulse expenditure at the moment, and you should really focus on your lifestyle enhancements, such as go for dieting, definitely use your sudden upsurge of willpower to gym, and enhance your physical presence essentially. Some of you may also be very surprised that you are suddenly seeing changes coming at your workplace. If you had been through my August readings, I had already talked heavily about how exactly Aries have been feeling, that there were a lot of processes that used to work for you earlier which have stopped working the way you are expecting them to function at the moment. And some of it also includes your day-to-day work also at your workplace, wherever you are providing service. And even for people who are into business, they are seeing that there are no longer the same margins or the same expected behavior from consumers that you were expecting right now. So now when Mars is going forth from your sign and it is debilitating there, it is questioning what have you done so far in order to action upon this dissatisfaction, right? At the end of the day, the fourth house is also essentially representative of your own satisfaction from your work, your own way of validating whether you have given the best of due efforts or not. And now this transit will ensure that you actually go into an action mode. It is a long transit indeed, so expect a good amount of effort from your side. And remember that Mars is going to make you somewhat anxious during November, but unfortunately, you do not have the luxury to be impulsive. So avoid being hasty at all cost and do things for stability and not for simply changing the status quo. This transit, contrary to the expectation, is not going to make you emotional. Quite contrary of that. You are getting somewhat of emotional breakdowns and trying to realize that, am I the current me, myself only? And even though this is something which is very ironical in terms of questioning, but you are going to question again and again why you should neglect being emotional. That is what you're going to ask your heart again and again during this month in the first place. And when December starts, when this Mars suddenly becomes retrograde within Cancer, you are going to go into a complete action driven mode. You would be experiencing another upsurge of energy within you to bring about change. And then you will not only, action upon whatever you have planned since the past few months, but also moreover, you would be benefited and rewarded with the same. This is not the testing time. I won't say that. It is simply just preparing you to be the best again. You are a person who used to, be very risk taking. You are a person who used to crave thrill in life. And the few past months have really taken and sucked out all of that fun from your life indeed. And so now you are again feeling the urge that I want to be a warrior once more. I want to hit back this and I want to get out of this Saturn dominated year, this year of 2081 Vikram Sampat with Raja Mangal Mantri Shani, and I want to make sure that the same amount of neglection which happened in different spheres of my life is not experienced by me in 2025. And this transformation cannot come unless you show one final stage of perseverance to Saturn, which is again getting direct 11th from your sign within Aquarius, and it is trying to tell you to handle all the unnecessary expenses, take accountability about your finances, experience emotional anxiety and frustration regarding the reality check you have got from colleagues around you, those people who have betrayed you, or some people who you had validated that they are actually good. Your judgment turned out to be actually a big red flag for them now. Now you cannot afford to fear any of this anymore. And you have to take a small step in a positive direction, probably for a job change. If you are in a relationship, you might rethink about that as well. You might even decide to, confess and bring about a closure to it at the moment. Moreover, some of you might also fear abandonment at the moment. So, you would be establishing very strong boundaries as well. The ninth from your sign would be impacted by Jupiter indeed, and Venus as well during this time period around. So, it is a very beautiful time in November where you will be blessed by the power of gurus around November all along. You will be seeing that there is a sudden interest towards higher education. You will be seeing that if you are an existing researcher, or if you actively pursue spiritual activities, Venus will definitely strongly give a support to you over here, and you would end up making some very beautiful plans for pilgrimages or trips in the upcoming month of December as well. And some of these trips may also contribute to a good amount of material success within you. And honestly, you need that weekend getaway. You need that moment of cherishment to tell and remind yourself that whatever happened during this entire year, I have survived all of that. And no matter what my life choices are, nobody has the right to judge me because I am accountable for all of that. A word of caution over here would be that do not fall, bait for clickbait such as marketing ads or small time money making opportunities, and you will end up in a lot of losses out of recklessness, literally, if you plan to indulge into that. So if you are seeing that Instagram ad about options trading, or if you are seeing that Instagram ad about abroad jobs, or if you are seeing that Instagram about multiplying your career via small money making opportunities and passive side incomes, do not invest into that at the moment, because you might end up making some impulsive expenditures, and then you are very well known for not being able to pursue those activities at a later point in time. Love actually might not be a priority for you at the moment, given that the sun is debilitated 7th from you and later it will go towards 8th. Your urges for physical pleasures might actually increase instead, and you should really avoid overcompensating in your relationship to avoid any backlashes, because over here it more of seems like you are just doing a relationship, or you're just indulging into amorous activities just for the sake of it, just for telling yourself that, yeah, I have to prove a point. Kindly avoid that sort of a situation, otherwise it can bring some hurt to the other side or the partner as well. Health wise, again, your digestion will be impacted during this Mars transit as well, and Sun is debilitated 7th from you while Mars is debilitated 4th from you. So definitely you can expect higher hunger pangs coming to you. Some unnecessary stress eating might lead to some weight gains. So that is why I have emphasized a lot on focusing your willpower into building a good physical regime at the moment. Blame game might also become part of their life at the moment, and you need to hold tight and sit back, because a lot of people at work are going to try and trigger you. But if you actually get triggered, remind yourself of this. If you have given up on your anger, it is better to let it go rather than expressing it to the other person. And this is for your own mind peace sake. Other people might be experiencing one or two small moments of backlashes if you are ranting them out. But unfortunately, your mind peace is ruined forever. So keep that in mind and then make your wise decision based on this. If you end up being over intense at the moment, and this is something which is applicable even to Scorpio, given that Mars is your ruling lord as well, such as, let's say that you decided, okay, I want to gym, and then you are going ahead and over exercising, beyond your comfort zone, that might also lead to some amount of problems. So the idea is that you need to strike a good balance in being health conscious and not health fearing at the moment. Time and around, I would say that you have seen your life is testing your patience, and this time around is not an exception to this either. So focus on learning that patience, focus on controlling your impulse and anger. This time around things will progress at its own pace, and it will progress for better. So rather than getting insecure about whether things will reach a closure or you would see some gratification or not, just try to enjoy the process and the journey, and definitely November will be set for you in that case scenario. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how exactly the month of November will fare out for the Taurus folks over here. Now, for Taurus, this month of November is actually all about pampering yourself, because a lot of few other months in the past have been about destabilization, have been about a little bit of emotional anxiety and frustration. So, finally, there is a much needed stability that is coming into your life, right? So, it is a good time to actually experience the splendidness and the beauty of your life. And this month is going to be slightly better compared to the other months. There are no major issues or blockers in life as such, and you are already knowing this since you are enjoying time and around over here. Some of you who had faced health issues earlier, not necessarily your own, but even in members of your family, especially if you are married, you might have seen in-laws health also getting, destabilized a little bit in the past. All of that is coming to a recovery phase now, and you are feeling much better about this now. Accept these good blessings. That is very important, because this is what the life is all about. You are very much aware about that you are very stubborn and you are very perseverant and you do not give up at any cost. So this is something which is unique about you. But moreover, sometimes what exactly happens is you get so busy defeating difficulties that you forgot about what you stand for. You also stand for enjoying all the pleasures, being Venus's own sign, right? So take out time for your family, take out time with your friends, enjoy all these festivities. Do not start questioning people and their intention. This is something very important, because this me time will also involve a lot of isolation, solitude, and zone out from other people around you. You feel like you probably deserve all this zone out, which is totally fine. But rather than thinking about or self-sabotaging your relationships, or trying to test your friendships over here, that why is that person not DMing me, why is that person who I used to be regularly connected with is not calling me back, ruining your mind peace over that is not going to help you around. And Jupiter is already retrograde in your own sign. It is here to make you feel actually happy and process some incoming blessings that started coming from September onwards. It could be in form of potential marriage rishtas that are coming your way in case you are single and looking to tie the knot. It could have been in form of new jobs also. Many Taurus people have also seen or came into new jobs. And moreover, it also simply shows that you are coming into acceptance of a new reality now, which is beautiful. That means the past is the past. You cannot no longer afford to cling to it all that much, and therefore you have decided to let it be and just take a chill pill at the moment. Money wise, everything is going to be neutral sort of this month. It is not like it is very groundbreaking or something, but it is like more than your need but less than your desires. So you are definitely going to be fine, but there will be some expenditures here and there, right? So expect that, especially since you plan on socializing very much this time around, despite that tendency of isolation, right? So it is like you're going to step out into that party, you're going to go on a date with some friend, you're going to spend some time with them, and then suddenly you felt like, okay, now I need to zone out, and then you come back and relax and chill. So you might end up spending money on the date and then coming back home and swigging again to satisfy your food cravings at the same time. So that is the type of appetite you are already enjoying since the past few months. And yes, the weight gain is here to stay. So fortunately or unfortunately, you have learned to come in sort of terms with that. So honestly, again, money is not going to be the focus point of the month at the moment. You are just happy that yes, everything is sort of working out. What you are not liking specifically right now is that why are people getting nosy about your intentions or your work? Because those people were not present when you were undergoing all those emotional anxiety moments in the past few months, right? So you are now feeling restrained to yourself. You are feeling like, can I even trust these set of people who are suddenly popping up and asking me about it? Moreover, relationship wise, you might divert all of this unnecessary attention which you are getting, let's say from relatives and other people around you, into testing some of your friendships, which is not the best way around this, right? This is possibly because some of you had to sacrifice a lot. Let's say if you are married, for your partner's family, if you are single, for some of your close friendships as well. And now you are just trying to see that whether they are returning that favor and trying to break even. But honestly, that is not how things are supposed to be. Even though your perspective might be very transactional, give and take, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to finances and stability, it might not be the same perspective for the other person. And therefore, simply, bearing personal grudges to them because they are not behaving in the way you are expecting to them, and you are having a certain set of inertia in the way they are supposed to behave, is not something good to look about. Setting out those self-fulfilling prophecies that you do all the time, that this person was supposed to call me at the moment, this person was supposed to go out on a date with me, all of this is only something which you are overthinking inside of your head, and thanks to Saturn, it is going to exacerbate even more over here, questioning your satisfaction as a whole. You're all set to receive some good gifts, some good appraisals, appreciation from your work. So yes, finally, all that effort, all that, idea that I am giving it my best shot and I'm expecting nothing back in return, but now you are getting surplus returns out of it, which is beautiful. And Saturn directing in the sign of Aquarius will definitely, bring about that. This also means that you have learned one very interesting lesson around this time, that practice makes a person perfect. And this should be a motto, especially if you're a student. You might feel very distracted this month, and you need to regain back this focus, because November is also the month where you see that you are supposed to give a lot of competitive exams as well, apart from your usual schedules. I'm not sure what field you are in, but definitely chances are that you are planning to give some of it, and therefore you need to focus more and more. You need to be more regular. You need to not stop practicing and avoid being overconfident this time around as well. Stop reminiscing about your past and start avoiding all of this inertia. When you try to open yourselves to new things and new areas and experiences in life, that is when you actually rejoice, right? And this is what Venus stands for. Pleasures do not come when you develop clinginess to some things. It always comes when you are developing some very good active boundaries. And moreover, when Venus goes to Sagittarius, you're going to feel the need to actually, isolate yourselves, and you will try to see what is my inner realization, what is it that I enjoy a lot, what is my passion that has been ignored all this month around. And this month is going to be lazy as well to a certain extent, but this is not going to impact you as such, because you are just going to question again and again, like, why should I work? That doesn't mean that you will stop hard working. You are very, very good at, fulfilling all your responsibilities. But then you will have this question that, okay, I have worked enough. Let me just take a chill pill today. Let me order some food. Let me sit down and do a Netflix and chill. And you will really, really wish to be left all alone by yourself. You're going to go into a self-love mode, pamper yourself around it. But more importantly, you need to learn to remove all that guilt that you might have from this, because this month is all about taking a deep breath, looking back at whatever has happened, processing the past, letting it go, and then cheering up to avoid any further coming hurdles. And rather than getting nostalgic about things, it is better to foresee the future and start planning what's your next move. So November is going to be all about that, and there will be no major executions as such, but there would be a very beautiful way of getting a new perspective about your passions. And this discovery phase is always something which you will really, really remember in the upcoming few months as well. So kudos for that, and have a wonderful November indeed. All the very best. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's talk about how the month of November is going to go for Gemini folks. Now, first of all, it's a good month, and you're going to feel blessed by your parents and elders, whoever will be, helping you out financially as well this month around. Expenses would be increasing this time, and honestly, you are actually going to finally enjoy all of these brief moments of luxuries and comforts. Some of you who were thinking, okay, let me buy that new mobile for myself, or let me pamper myself by buying some really good clothes for myself, And some of you who are also planning to purchase a new vehicle, this time around you will see that you're going to invest in your luxuries and comforts, and it will be for your own good as well. This is going to happen because Mars is debilitating in the second sign from you within Cancer itself. So of course, some expenses here and there for comfort oriented vibes would be coming. You will focus more on realizing your family and accountability you have towards them. And this will make you a very responsible person, which is indeed beautiful. Something which you used to hate and run away from earlier, because you always felt like taking responsibility might become a drag, and then you just used to feel that I might get entrapped on this clutches, and I really think that that might not have a thrill, or it might be boring. But now you are slowly realizing that it also works out in the best possible way indeed, and family love is indeed something which is going to be your priority now, and you're going to feel somewhat of a new person who has evolved in terms of thinking. And your definition of thrill is also changing now as you move towards more stability that you seek from your family. You will be active in your business, and if you have an existing business already, it is definitely going to thrive this month around. There would be some obstacles that are going to come because you might have to actively communicate about what you are trying to sell to other people. You might have to convince a lot of people, but honestly, the Venus moving in Sagittarius, 7th from your sign, is going to help you out in a very wonderful way, and is definitely going to seal some really good business deals for you. Your societal image will be embellished during this time around. You will see that people are going to talk about you. People really want to talk about you. And earlier few months, there was this sudden isolation phase where you just felt like, okay, I don't want to network with people that actively. Fortunately, that is coming to end, because you are realizing that this is not my true self, right? My true self really involves being humorous, being the center of attention for a lot of people, and you will again start to actively network back with people, something that was missing all this time around, and that is going to fill you up with thrill. So you can expect yourself to be indulged in a lot of festivities and interactions with relatives, interactions with your friends. And honestly, this is something really super beautiful about you at the moment. You will also see that the sun is debilitating 6th from your sign, and therefore you are going to feel lazy. And later on as well, you might think about changing your routine, but honestly, even the change won't be that drastic. Say for example, you used to actively gym earlier, then now suddenly you will feel the urge that, okay, let me just try yoga, do something of a comfort orientedness. If you used to actively do meditation earlier, you would now start feeling, okay, let me switch to deep breathing. I think I'm just happy with that itself, and I'm getting my desired results as such. As soon as the mid of the November crosses, suddenly all this laziness is going to go away, and you will be in this hyperactive mode who is too self-conscious about your societal images, about the expectations that you are supposed to deliver towards your family. And that is something truly delightful, because the duality of your sign Gemini is going to hit you back. And you will suddenly become very serious that no, I want to pursue my goals. I want to see what I was missing or I had not chased in the last few months. Let me go towards them now, and let me not cut slack to myself. And Saturn, which is directing back in Aquarius during the same time period, will only help you extend this intention of completing all those goals in a very timely manner. So you will pick up your slacks, you will make some changes in your habit formations, you will make some, wonderful changes and worthwhile recognition by resolving workplace conflicts that you might have been having lately. You are also seeing that you are complaining about your co-workers who are not working up to the mark, and now all of this, misconceptions about them are going to go away, because you will be in better place and in a potential better state of relationship with also them. Also, you would see that this might also come with some added responsibilities, especially after the mid of the month. So suddenly you might see that a workload which used to be super chill, and now your boss is loading you down with all those new tasks that you were not, finding yourself doing earlier, and your job might become slightly more demanding as well. But you need to take a firm stand now and make sure that you do not make the same mistake that you did last year, where you failed to express your opinion and then people started putting all their responsibilities upon you, and then you were taking accountability for even their work. So something of that sort should not happen once again. So maintain clear boundaries about what is the resource allocation, what is the work allocation going to be. And there might be a possibility some people to sling some mud on you, because people will be jealous of you when Venus goes in seventh from your sign. So make sure that you do not enter that same loop which you experienced last year, and you take a firm stand about this time around. You should be happy now that there are a lot of things that have been happening in parallel, and many a times in the past few months you were feeling that life is getting sort of boring. There is so much to process at the moment now, that finally you're feeling that, yeah, I can multitask a lot. Honestly, you always have been wondering that I want to do everything in parallel, because you don't have your mind fixated at one thing for quite a few last months as well. And some of you are going an intense makeover also, whether it is about removing that wardrobe malfunction that you was existing earlier, that you thought, okay, let me revamp my wardrobe, let me buy those wonderful formals that I would wear to work now, or let me go ahead and pamper myself with that perfect spa treatment that I really was desiring for quite a few months. A lot of you might also decide that you need to spend some money on home repairs, and there would be some unexpected functions that you will have to attend. Either it could be closely related with festivities, or your relatives might be having some sort of marriage or other. One important thing to remember during this time period is, do not fear about interacting with people. Do not be insecure about making some good connections. Make good use of this opportunity of networking to interact with new set of people. Do not be judgmental about what they are doing or what you are expecting from them. Do not enter into that conversation with some preconceived notions, because it is going to spoil your mood at a later point in time, and it might also prove that you would end up losing another good connection once more. Anyhow, you have experienced that in the past few months you were unable to capitalize the right opportunity at the right time, so there would be some regrets happening with you right now which you are trying to process. So make sure that the same loop doesn't happen once more. Already, as I mentioned, that you are going to become more responsible, and you are feeling that you are becoming a slightly boring person, and you might decide, okay, let me vent out this entire new situation which is happening to my partner, in case you are married or in case you are in a relationship, and sometimes even to close friendships. But avoid doing that, right? It might seem a little bit immature to your better half or to your potential friends, and it might lead to some amount of backlashes. Health wise, please take care about your respiratory health, especially because the seasonal flu is going to hit you, especially post middle of the month. Some of you even might experience fever here and there. So kindly take care of your health. Do not feel burned out at any point of time by multitasking and taking up more in your basket than what you are able to process at a time. So have a divide and conquer approach to your work as well, and try to maintain a balance to avoid any such health repercussions that might come down to your plate. And apart from that, I believe it's a good time around. So have fun and be thrilled just like you always are. All the very best to all my Gemini friends. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly talk about what happens to Cancer folks in the month of November. Now, Cancer folks have been facing some good months, especially after September mid onwards. There were some blessings on your way, which is finally like a respite from all the past things that you have been managing lately, right? And there were a lot of problems and obstructions earlier, a lot of emotional frustrations, anxiety, anger, which was being hidden inside of you, whether it was related to your relationships or related to your workplace or related to even family relationships at the moment ongoing. So all of that is finally getting some closure or other in terms of the life choices that you are making now. Moreover, the interesting thing about Saturn getting directed back again in your eighth eighth from your sign, to be more specific, in Aquarius, is that now you are fully immune to all the obstacles, and it is almost like you have attained a nirvana in handling all of this together. And the higher authority has finally blessed you as well, and life has become like a level up Super Mario challenge for you. I think something similar to which you share with Aquarius as well at the moment, because you have been facing so many problems lately and you found some solution or other out of all these small issues and situations consolidated up together. This month you will receive some very good family support. They would be like the go-to people for venting out, for able to listen to you, and they will also provide you with some financial help. Some gifts also would be welcome from your side. Don't be hesitant in accepting all of these blessings, and definitely do not dare question this, and definitely do not be irritated by this either, because chances are that you are going to feel a little bit cranky and you will be rude to these people, and you might think that you should be hesitant in accepting this help, but honestly that is going to lead to some amount of backlash. So rather focus on accepting it with grounded humbleness and move on. If someone suggests a solution to your problem, honestly, you do not want to hear that at the moment. You just want to be acknowledged. You just are trying to find people to vent out on them, to try to make them acknowledge that, I actually struggled for the past few months with so and so situations. But honestly, this is creating an irritable atmosphere around you. And you should stop this trauma dumping immediately, unless you want to come out as a very acrimonious person or as a very bitter person to the other. And you should prevent yourself from oversharing about all these struggles lately. The simple reason I'm going to tell you is that once Saturn is coming out of being retrograde, eighth from your sign, it is trying to tell you to accept what has transformed you, and do not ever go back into the same set of loop again. So in case you are planning to approach those friendships that have eroded back during this time period, avoid doing that at the moment. You are being an overkill visionary at the moment, right? So for example, you decided, okay, let me take a job switch, or let me leave my job, prepare for something up, or let's say let me take my relationship to the next level and tie the knot. You are knowing that currently you can take steps 1, 2, 3, 4 in a sequential fashion to go about handling all of this. But what you are doing right now is that you are directly going to step 4 from step 1, and you are missing the entire in-between process which is happening around of it. So rather than doing that, focus on being patient. Focus on going sequentially, going orderly, and approaching the problem in the correct way. What it simply means is that if you're thinking that, okay, let me change my domain altogether within the job, start studying about it, start realistically applying to jobs associated with that, start realistically preparing for those interviews, and then give 1 or 2 set of interviews to gain some confidence. But you are expecting it as if people are going to come and serve you up a silver platter in your hands, that you are pretty much qualified enough to do this, so go ahead and join our company. That is not how real life is going to go about, right? So you need to make some effort instead of just ranting out about being the victim regarding gaslighting at a workplace. So move out of that entire trauma, and just go ahead with it. Except that you have been slightly lucky, at least compared to the past, in the past at least 1 or 2 months at least, and you survived out because you actually went for closure. Some of you saw some new job gains, some of you decided to leave job altogether out of handling toxicity in your environment. So now all of this is done and dusted. What you need to focus now on is to overcome your laziness, is to bring back your energy levels. And since Mars is coming into your sign, a new physical routine is definitely on the cards for you soon. And after the mid of the month, you might even decide, okay, let me go for a weekend getaway, or let me plan some good trip in the upcoming month of December, or somewhat of a small rejuvenation also. You can say like a workation also might be on the cards this time around. If you feel like sympathizing with the wrong set of people, where you again develop a tendency to let me nurture the incorrect, toxic, narcissistic person, then kindly avoid that at all cost. Venus is transiting sixth from your sign through Sagittarius, and you are going to be, bugged by a lot of people from the past. But ask this question to yourself: were any of these people there for you from March or February of this year? Chances are it is no, right? Then you already know what you are supposed to do. So do not, go into being of a person of a higher moral burden and sympathizing with such people, because again then you would have forgotten all the lessons Saturn transiting from eighth from your sign has taught you. Now it is important for you to being immune to people who are not having the best of interest for you in concern. This is the time for you to accept the incoming blessings for you with a very grounded attitude. And it is also a time for you to channelize things in a very proper direction. Do not be over possessive or over controlling about all the things that have transformed you lately, and try to maintain your focus till at least March of next year, because after that things are going to go in a very upward curve as a fashion. But for that to happen and manifest, you need to stay patient. And the month of November is no exception for that. You need to stay patient, you need to plan out, you need to strategize, you need to execute things without having the expectation of results over here. And kindly, at all cost, avoid people who are coming and trauma dumping upon you. Just because you have healed a little bit in the past 1 or 2 months does not actually give them the right to come and do a lot of panchat about you, to be over curious about what you are up to, and then vent out their frustration on you and bring that negativity. Always remember, the month of November is going to be a month where you are gonna actively practice this mantra, that you become the average of the 5 people who you are talking to immediately about. So definitely choose those 5 people very, very carefully. And the moment you remove all those emotional biases about these choices, that is the moment you have actually trumped the lesson of Saturn getting direct back again, eighth from your sign. So stay put, stay on your toes, and feel blessed about things and manifest things multifold, because this is going to be a little bit of a wild ride, but definitely it will be worth it. Just wait for all the rewards which are getting consolidated right now, and let's see what happens in March of next year. So till then, bye bye and take care. Om Namo Venkateshaya to all of you. Let's discuss how the month of November is going to go for my Leo friends now. The month of November will be characterized by Mars going debilitated 12th from your sign within Cancer, and Mars is going to take control of your emotions from here and now. You're already experiencing a lot of drastic mood shifts, and a lot of mood swings also as times are pacing ahead. You are feeling lost and lonely in a gathering. Some of you are just not able to feel the same old self which you had been feeling, right? On top of that, here and there you were sick a little bit at the end of October, and you are still recovering from, say, let's say, seasonal flu or some ups and downs here and there that have left you very exhausted. So every small nitty-gritty, every small detail is at the moment hurting you. Every small neglection by the people at the workplace, within the friend circle, within your immediate colleagues is hurting you, and it is going to hurt you to the deep. To the extent that you might also start thinking that you kind of want vengeance to restore the balance in the universe back into your favor, which honestly you are in no position to do at the moment, because that is not going to be your priority. So avoid feeling that. You're feeling down health wise also, and mentally as well, because you are thinking about being a little bit socially isolated. You're just not able to trust your gut instincts the way you used to do. And things have suddenly been drastic, it has been exhausting, and things have been happening in parallel a lot. Let's say if you were within educations, you are multitasking between your job search and your assignments. If you are into a relationship, you are finding it difficult to cope up with the demands of the other half. If you are in a person who is actively right now doing job, there are tons of workloads that have been shifted on your plate. and all of this is kind of consolidating into some sort of frustrations which you are trying to conceal and tell yourself that, okay, I don't care about my mental health, I have to go through this because I am responsible for it. So relaxation is actually really, really needed at the moment. And already expenses are also going through the top this time around, and you will continue doing that in the name of self-love, I believe, during this month. Don't feel too guilty about it, but unfortunately be very stringent about your expenditure in general. There might be some intense workplace situation that might come up in this month. Especially there would be a little bit of a rift with some colleague that might give you a little bit stress, and as a result of that you might start losing trust over people more and more. Mars will definitely also reward you with some new sources of income. So be sure of that. If you're a person who was actively trying to search for jobs abroad, there might be chances of getting new job interviews. There might be chances of making some new sources of income on the social media as well. And it might prove to be rewarding if you invest into those areas. Some time and some monetary benefit also might come out of it. You might either have already started pursuing a new educational course also in the planning. So some of you actually will go ahead and make a monetizable income very soon in case you are a content creator. It really doesn't matter whether you are feeling emotionally down again about this, but honestly, this is a better pace for you. You find it relaxing when you are angry and busy. So that is your mood at the moment. Honestly, in the past few months, some speculation activities have not been working out very nicely for you, and it has also created a little bit of a chaos in your family household, and you're becoming more and more anxious, trying to take things into control. But honestly, you need to learn to be patient, and this month is going to prove detrimental about all of this because you are expecting too much from yourself, right? Just because you are a responsible person, or let's say you are a person who was very proud about being able to grasp to new situations and skills very fast. Do not impose your past expectations on yourself. Do not expect that simply because you were a very super smart person earlier, you are going to remain super smart without practice during this time around. You might see that there are people who are outshining you. So stop expecting perfection from yourself and rather start working about yourself. Some of you have been under the weather, which I already mentioned, and you are overworked at your service. Things would be a little bit hectic here and there, and you will actually manage through all of this, provided that you make sure your mental health is actually in a good sync. Then automatically it will translate into a better physical health. It is okay for you to not be shining all the time. The important thing to identify over here is, try to identify points of problems and negativity around you at the moment. Check what is exactly making you negative. Are you consuming Instagram on an excessive basis? Is there a thing which is bothering you from inside? Is there a validation seeking tendency inside of you which you want to prove others that you are successful? Break all of these habits at the moment, and you need some time to overcome this, and the November is the month to do all of that. You will want things to manifest in a very specific way because you are obsessed about things. Let's say, for example, you thought, okay, let me get that new job properly done, which I was thinking about, and then you are spending more and more time over Instagram and reels, but you have joined a course in parallel. So you are thinking it's a very linear trajectory for you. If I complete the course, then I will be able to gain a job. But things aren't that 0 or 1, right? You need to put some additional efforts apart from that as well, and you are trying to give an excuse that the course is more than enough for that, but honestly it is not. So be a little bit more practical. Do not make your obsessions turn to addictions at the moment. Saturn will be turning direct from your 7th, so it is going to cause you distress, and there might be a little bit of restrictions that are going to be imposed upon you. Honestly, you will feel better because these restrictions are lesser than when Saturn was retrograde all this time around. Make sure that you are not taking any loans this month. Do not go into an active debt, especially from a speculation related activity point of view. and stay away from non-productive activities at the moment, because it might backfire if if you are invited to a social gathering, you just thought, okay, let me go and formalize my presence over there. But if you are not vibing in that atmosphere, kindly don't go over there. It is better to stay with yourself and learn how to seek validation from within yourself to be grounded, rather than seeking from the environment around you. Business will remain as usual in case you are a person who is into entrepreneurship. Honestly, there are no much changes that you will see. You will see that everything is stable. Everything would be having a very fixed asset kind of a thing. In case you were having some business expansion plans, this is not really the time to do and go about it. Even if you do, you will see the results will still ensure that whatever profit margins you had started off with, that is going to remain constant at the moment, since Saturn is directing back 7th from your sign. Good relief would be Venus going to Sagittarius for you folks, definitely. And you will be focusing a lot to, rejuvenate yourself, to think about what makes you intelligence, to think about what is different about you, what is your USP, what do you bring in on the table when you are networking with somebody, right? So all of this, phase of introspection is going to benefit you at a later point in time, and you should actively indulge into that. That is why I said avoid partying, avoid seeking validations from others. Go ahead and seek your realizations now. So this is not a month to be overexcited, and honestly, you're not in a physical state or position to feel overexcited either. You need to be grounded. You might think that you are lacking a certain sense of zeal which you used to have, but honestly, this is just about time to process all of this. I understand that it goes against your natural instinct, but this is the part of the learning process. Probably this is preparing you for something very nice and drastic which is going to come in the in the upcoming year. So do not feel bad about it, especially, try to give it your best shot and go ahead and kindly take care. All the very best to all my Leo folks. Om Namo Venkateshai. Let's quickly understand how the month of November is going to fare out for my Virgo friends. So finally, I can say that this month is going to be better than the past few months, and this is a much needed relief for all the Virgo folks, which I know. You will finally feel strong, you will feel positive, and there is positivity going to come into different directions of your life, and you are trying to heal up from all the past that has been difficult to process as a whole. There was some intensity, some passion also associated with you now finally, and you are finding yourself to be enthusiastic in general. You are feeling positive because you have emotionally recovered, and out of that entire build up phase that I talked about in the earlier months also, in case you haven't checked out my blog down, you could go ahead and do it. This is like a newfound happiness, and this happiness is also having a fundamentally different definition from the past. It has been about acknowledging your blessings. It has been about letting go of things which went out of your control. It has been about surviving everything that has happened to you folks, whether it was about eroded relationships, past friendships, or even very difficult workplace situations. Some of you had to face business shutdowns as well, and you are now in a completely different mode and environment altogether. And now I would say that Saturn is also going to lend you the support after being directed in Aquarius, which is 6th from your sign, and you will start feeling productive also. You will slowly start winning over your enemies, which is a much needed moment at the sign. And on top of that, I would say that you have already identified who all are authentic, who all are on your side, and it's really good time ahead for you. You're confronting your problems of life. Finally, you have decided that you cannot escape out of anything, and people are again and again bugging you regarding a lot of areas within your life. Some of you are also actively trying to seek relationships and marriage proposals, but honestly, things don't look very positive in that direction yet. Some of you have already started healing about all the past choices you have made, whether it was for the good or bad. The consequences do not matter now. There are some new faces that you were, initially very skeptical about, and you were being very over judgmental with your observation skills. And now you will finally allow these new connections to sink in into your life, and these are going to help you build up a lot of nice status and social life as well. A lot of focus will also go towards building assets, particularly since Venus will be going to Sagittarius, which will be fourth from your sign. So now again, you are, thinking about improving your entire environment around of you. It could be as small as a change, such as buying that new office executive chair to, add to your work from home setup, to finally feeling the need to even bring in some expensive clothing from the brand that you had thought about wearing a long time back, or to even gifting yourself quite a lot of comforts and luxuries here and there. Some of you might even start planning buying a new car, but this is not the month you will be capitalizing on that. But I can definitely see that some sort of luxury and comfort will be coming up. Jupiter will remain retrograde within Taurus, and it is making you contemplate that luck does matter above everything. And you have a room to fix all those mistakes because you were so lost in resolving all these life problems by yourself. You were always advocating that hard work is going to give results. But at the end of the day, you are finally out of that entire phase. You have shifted your belief system accordingly. Did you notice one very interesting pattern, that you just forgot to pursue all your favorite activities from the past few months? Say, for example, if you loved painting, you couldn't find any time or even the mental peace to indulge into that. And finally, I would say November is bringing that relief, that you are going to find some time to pursue your hobbies also. You will find some time for yourself that has been neglected from the past few months. You will be overwhelmed with work, but honestly now you are noticing that you are in a hyperactive mode. It doesn't matter even if people are going to come and build up upon work, especially if you are working in finances or accounting, or if you own a business of your own. You will realize that there would be a lot of detailing, a lot of technical nitty gritty involved to save money, to analyze the customer base, to just go through entire balance sheet all together in one go. And all of this, whichever seems to be boring to other people around you, is a thrilling part of your life. It also means that you will become more responsible at your work despite the chilling phase which you are going to activate. It is almost like you have expanded your comfort zone of work altogether. Say, for example, if you used to work for 2 hours and got tired from it, now you are not feeling that same exhaustion even after working for 4 hours. So you are going to be happy irrespective, right? So that is something very beautiful and bright lying ahead. Health will not be much of an issue, except there could be some seasonal ups and downs. Some of you, in case you have a very afflicted Virgo moon, would experience physical injuries, which you should be really, really careful about, but not everybody would be apparently doing into that. You'll be extremely diplomatic as well when you are dealing with people. You are going to accept people with flaws now, something that has completely changed your mindset from earlier times. You are okay having polite disagreements without indulging into the negativity of people, because now you have realized that you matter more, your mental peace matters more, and others are really irrelevant. And you have finally realized that happiness is just a state of mind now. Nobody needs to come and induce that into you. You feel that as a self-realized self about your own thinking and mindset altogether. And there is nobody else who can validate in determining your own happiness or your own mind peace. And that is what is now beautiful about this entire transit, and you have learned your lesson. So the times ahead would be much brighter. The times ahead would be healing out of all of the past. And finally, you can look forward to a wonderful new year as well. I will not say that your anxiety is entirely gone. It is going to still stay. Given that Ketu is still above your sign only, you will be suspicious of people. You will still not be able to exactly evaluate what you are up to. You will not be easily able to evaluate what is your purpose, what are you supposed to really be doing. Some people might try to misuse you, but you are over that phase. It really doesn't even matter now. You are in a phase where you just don't care anymore whether people are trying to make you happy, whether people are trying to make you sad. You are just realizing that everything which matters is you, and your identity is above everybody. And this is what I would say Ketu brings about, that individualistic transformation in oneself, which is wonderful indeed for you, and you are in that phase. You will be more spiritual this time around as well. You will feel that I have a sudden need to be able to evolve my belief system, to understand what are different spiritual experiences, to understand or experience some mantra chanting, to understand and experience some deity that I was thinking about exploring in the past but couldn't give a good bandwidth of time to the same. And this is something again which is very healing, irrespective of the outcomes, because now you are not putting any expectations or desires in this exploration phase anymore. You are just over that entirely, so it becomes even more holistic and will increase your capability as a researcher altogether, which is again a very wonderful thing for you people, because you are anyway very detailed oriented, right, at the end of the day. The good news is that now that control which you were okay about letting go is finally going to come back into your hands. Although this would be gradually coming, you might not even realize this fully, but now you think that you are again taking charge and responsibility of your own life that had been very chaotic and haphazard till now, which is another wonderful thing. So take care and all the very best, and so happy for all of you folks for a wonderful November indeed. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November is going to fare out for Libra folks. Now, for the Libra people, trend setting has always been a huge part of your life, right? You will always notice that the clothes that you are wearing will somehow be copied by other people around. You were that child within the childhood who used to bring that new pencil box or bag and then was getting irritated by the fact that there are other people trying to copy your exact style. They are so impressed with you. So all of that has, made and defined your personality as a whole. But unfortunately, for the past few months, you were actually gradually, out of your place. You were not being able to, set trends for others. You were healing yourself. You were feeling very down. There were some financial losses in case you were within stock investments. There were some drastic relationship changes. And now slowly you are realizing that trend setting part again. So you are gradually, I would say, shifting back to normal, and some of you might even be feeling better compared to the other months. So it is a good time now finally, because you see some positive direction in your life which was missing in the past few months. Some of you got some new jobs also which you will be starting up, and it is a very good time for you to be able to take good amount of accountability at work and show that incentive or take initiatives to be actively involved around with people around you. Now, one important question that is going to irk you during November is whether you want to go back to your previous stints that have failed. Irrespective whether the outcome was actually partially success or a failure, you would just simply think about clinging back to the past a little bit. What does it mean? So basically, let's say if you were an options trader, then definitely I would say September and October couldn't be a very good time for you financially. You have seen some losses, and some of you actually decided to, either quit options trading altogether, or you thought, let me experiment with some of a new financial instruments, or let me switch the domain of my hobby or passion altogether. So in that entire process, now you are trying to decide or make a choice. Should I actually go back to options trading because I'm feeling a little bit mentally more peaceful now? But honestly, this entire month of November is going to be more of a discovery phase for you, where you are going to see what are my passions. And honestly, this is beautiful, because the universe will support you with this discovery. You would see, especially the Venus in Sagittarius is going to try and show you that there are a lot of plethora of things where you can become the new trendsetter. Till now, in the past few months, you were following somebody else, but as I mentioned, right, you are a person who is supposed to discover things and people follow you. So that is your original entire OG personality, and now you are going to go back to those pursuits. You are not going to quit, especially those small hobbies that you had developed inertia about. That is something very weird, but because even though you are facing losses because of that, simply you will try to maintain a balance out of that. And honestly, it is okay, but keep things in moderations. Let's say that you go back to trading or actively investing within finance. It is okay to make sure that you have your risk boundaries well defined. Business will thrive this month around in case you own one, and you will be interacting with a lot of people. You will be making some very good networking contacts. You will also try to drive multiple sources of incomes and channels to draw your monetization, which is wonderful. From a finance perspective, I would say despite that business boom, honestly, it is a neutral month. You might see that you might sign up new contracts, but it is much possible that you will get the payments in the upcoming months only, or you will make those desirable profits which you were foreseeing only in later part of the month, or probably not in this month at all. You will also witness that some health issues might come up to your children, especially after the middle of the month. Once Saturn has directed back within Aquarius, which is fifth from your sign, you will try to be a little bit more possessive and controlling about your children in case you have any. More importantly, you might also face some imposter syndrome issues, whether, let's say, if you face some challenging situations, irrespective of work or non-work related, even within the personal spheres of your life, you're going to quickly question yourself that, am I even worth it? Can I actually do this again? Will I be again lucky in this or not? Will my hard work actually pay off? So all of these questions are going to, ruin your mental anxiety and your mental mind peace as well. Honestly, it is better to start accepting things the way they are. And this will ensure that there is a smooth transition at a later point in time. Because at the end of the day, since you are going into back in a discovery phase, you are going to come up with some very solid, good few bullet points that you're going to follow in the upcoming year as well, not just the upcoming month of December. You'll be lucky in terms of relationships this time around. So in case you were thinking about finding that much needed love, please go ahead. Except I would really humbly suggest, do not go on a player dating spree. Sometimes you have this hobby that, you just end up overindulging into meeting people. You just need to make sure that someone is not hurt simply because you are non-confrontational by nature and you are making them more vulnerable while you are having your boundaries sorted with them. So make sure that you value the genuine folks which are coming into your life, and you are not, showing some sort of an insecurity by purposely being non-confrontational about your feelings. Finances will start sorting out only after the middle of the month. As I mentioned, it will be neutral, but the initial parts of the month are still going to be a little bit havoc here and there, a little bit chaotic. Health wise, you might feel very cranky. There would be some stomach issues definitely which you are facing. Some of you would be irritated with pimple breakouts and skin issues as well. You might even indulge into stress eating. You might even think about over addiction and go out for party and pubs as an escape from all your problems. But kindly remember that Mars debilitating within Cancer might think or make you think that all of this is going to heal you, but honestly this is only going to exacerbate your financial status and problems later on, and there would be regrets. So try to keep everything in moderation. There is no point in telling you to stop doing all of this, because then again, you are not a person who would be listening directly what I said, right? You would be more of a person who might actually end up doing something because I told you not to, because you operate on reverse psychology much better. Overall, this is going to be a mixed month with some good outcomes here and there. So you need not worry too much, but make sure that you keep your health in check, especially your physical health, because once your physical health is sorted, then only you would be able to heal up mentally as well. So that is something which is very important to take care of this month around, and all the very best. Please take care. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November will be going on for the Scorpio folks. Now, this is going to be a so-so and on average month, I would say. It would be a mix of hurdles. It would be a mix of perspectives. Now, whether you are seeing those hurdles as an opportunity to deal with, or you are seeing those hurdles as literal problems, that really, really matters on your own perception of that. There would be slight delays about your work, but one good giveaway is that you will definitely get what you were desiring and what you want from those works. Finances have finally started getting sorted after being in a doldrum for about, let's say, more than 4 to 5 months, and you will be putting a positive effort in the direction of expanding your income as well. Even you would be indulging into multiple other income sources because Mercury will be blessing you with the same. You will be finding new people in life. You will be rejuvenated by interacting with them. So do not keep yourself very constrained, or do not be very suspicious about who is approaching you or who is not. This is not the month to think that I want to make some new intimate connections. Rather, the need of the hour is to not be vulnerable to people and still interact with them as if it is normal. There is no need for making very close friends out of everybody, and you have realized this in a very firm way. There had been a lot of missing and filling in the holes with toxic people and lost connections from the past, I agree. But as we approach closer and closer to a new Saturn transit from next year onwards, you would see that your friend circle will be slowly fading away and new one will be created anyhow. So there is no need to feel insecure about it. On the contrary, there is a lot of enthusiasm and energy for the people who are entering your life. So pay attention to them, listen to each one, and try to process who is good out of them. You will be definitely discovering some new idea, or you would be customizing some idea into a monetizable source of income in case you are present in such fields. If you are into business, then definitely you will be reaping a lot of benefits this month. A few months back, I had also talked about how some of you had made irreversible hard life choices, and finally, all of those efforts where you were sometimes seeing some small gratification, sometimes seeking whether your move is actually contributing to a positive result or not, is now slowly starting to pay off. And you are now feeling more in control, you are feeling stable, and now somewhat you are also disliking the fact that there is no thrill because everything is stabilizing slowly, which is okay. At the end of the day, that is what really defines your transformation. And on top of that, some of you might also think about giving up on people pleasing altogether. Now, this people pleasing isn't your normal way because anyhow you are not fundamentally a people pleaser. But unfortunately, to stay relevant, let's say you were into a business and you were catering to different segments within those business, you were making sure that their needs are being met. Now suddenly you have this feeling that I would be experimenting with my genre, I would be experimenting with the type of products that I am offering to other people around. I would be also experimenting and seeing what would be the result if I follow my passion without any, regrets at all. I don't care whether the people are liking it or not, whether this product is suiting to the market need or not, and then you would be capitalizing upon the same. In a very similar fashion, if you were into a workplace or a service based job, you are going to approach your problems and interactions with your bosses in a very similar fashion. You should be a little bit hasty about doing so because it might come out as directly pretty rude, but you are now thinking that I need to take up a stance, and a solid stance to express myself boldly, and I do not want to repeat the same mistake of not giving my all, or rather not expressing my concerns similar to what you did in, let's say, March or April of this year. So now you are moving into an era where you are immune to the entire insecurity, you can say, or the fear that you used to keep in your mind as to what will happen, what will the people think. Honestly, back then also you did not care what did the people think. That is why I said you already made those hard choices, but you had been feeling like I need to prove others wrong, and that is why I had made this hard choice. This might not seem relatable to other signs, but for you, if you are listening it and you are a Scorpio, then you exactly understand what I'm trying to talk about right now. You will indeed go into that direction in a very bold fashion, and you would be trying to make a change. Whether you see the impact of it or not, irrespective of what I advise you, you are still going to do it anyway. So make sure that it does not come at cost of losing some genuine connections, or you do not lose people simply because you are overthinking about their intention on your own side, and they actually have better interests of you within their minds. If you are into a job or service, some level of exhaustion here and there might be seen. You might also feel a little bit of a neglection. Some of you Scorpio had switched jobs recently, or you started up with a new job as well altogether as a fresher, and it has been a little bit overwhelming, but you are processing all of that, and fortunately you will be able to prioritize all of this in a very wonderful fashion. You will see that you are going to gain a lot of trust from your bosses, and they would be appreciating your presence, if not a work directly as a contribution at the moment, which is very, very important for you, because toxicity is what actually led to this drastic step in the first fashion. So it is sort of like a reassurance, you can say, that is going to come out from your bosses at the moment. Health and relationships are going to stay neutral this month around, and in fact, from the past few months, which had a lot of mental anxiety issues that were being dealt with, there is a lot of unexpected hidden blessings. Plans that you never had related to your journey have started coming up post September. October was very similar, and some of you might have already planned some very nice vacations during November and December as well. This month is all about minding your intensity. Even though you are a person who is always relatable to being more super intense about your reactions, there is no requirement at the moment to be intense about your expectations from others, especially when it comes to relationship point of view. There is no requirement for you to burden other people with your trauma. And let's not forget that Mars, being your ruling lord, is debilitated in Cancer. Your other ruling lord Ketu is in Virgo, and sometime later it might will be going in Leo as well in next year, not something immediately. And Mars is also going to remain in a lot of back and forth in not such a good state for the upcoming, quite drastic, almost half a year as well, right? So this time is going to stay. So you need to learn to moderate your intensity. This is also a month to enhance your spiritual connections. Lately, a lot of Scorpios I have seen have been very particular about all the rituals that you are doing, about your approach to devotion as a whole. But unfortunately, I would say this, that do not be so obsessed about rituals. What to do, what not to do, rules and regulations. Rather, your way is more of like go with the flow, right? What can benefit you honestly is the need to take a step back and start focusing on developing a connection with your favorite deity in the first place, and try to adopt their ways in your real life. That is something that will give you a better mind clarity and establish a stronger bond between you and them. So no need to be so scattered about all of this. Rather, inculcate something which is more of a comfort zone as part of your routine, and start doing that instead of overthinking what drastic steps you can do to inculcate devotion, or what drastic steps you can do to introduce a new regime altogether. Rather, the need is just keep in synchronization with your intensity, keep things in moderation, conserve your energy in the right direction, and do not focus on problems. Rather, try to map that energy to find solutions. That is the perfect need of the hour, and sums up how November is going to shape up for all of you. Health wise, be mindful about cough. And since you are a water element person, but you are having Mars as your lord, so a lot of fieriness, anger is going to pay inside of you. The same advice which I gave to Aries, try to control your anger. In case you feel that you need to really vent out on people, went out on the people who you trust. As in, you can bitch about what is happening with you, even though this is not your comfort zone, because usually you are a person who likes to keep everything private. But if necessary, you should go that way and do not express your anger. Always remember that once you have expressed your anger, you have already lost the battle. The idea is to stay in the battle and prolong it. So be patient, wait for the right opportunity. But if the water level gets boiled over, in case some past connection starts playing a victim card like of a tendency, immediately take that idea of ranting on them directly. Now, this might not come out as a very positive suggestion, but that is the current need of the hour, so that you don't end up in the loop which you have already experienced in Mars. This is a similar advice which I gave to, I would say, Cancer, since they are also undergoing a daya. But this is how things need to be really, and so it is to basically maintain your own mind peace. So take care and all the best. Have a wonderful and manifest full November. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly now understand how the month of November is going to shape out for Sagittarius folks. Now, for Sagittarius folks, we need to understand that Mars is going to be all about transformation for you, because it is going debilitated 8th from your sign, and later in December it will go retrograde within that sign as well. So you are finding it hard to feel kind of blessed despite Jupiter trying to support you by being in Taurus. Now you're wondering whether the choices that you have made to move forward in life have actually moved you forward, or rather you are feeling trapped by regarding your choices which you made a few months back. It is somewhat causing you some distress. For example, in case you started up with a new job, you are just wondering if this was actually what I signed up for. If you have started a higher education course recently, you are feeling overwhelmed with all the new things and it is taking some time for you to process all of it. Restlessness is becoming at an all-time high, but this is something you can talk about to, let's say, a person who is experiencing similar shifts or trajectory. Let's say a Scorpio friend who you might be knowing pretty well. They can guide you about it. Or a Cancer friend as well at the moment, since they have already experienced these shifts which you are experiencing now. But unfortunately, there is one interesting aspect to this. You are just not ready to take advice, isn't it? You are more interested in, let's experiment. How much is my boundary limit? How much I can step out of my comfort zone? Let's say how much I can overwork myself, how much I can take an initiative in an already falling off the cliff relationship as well. But guess what over here? This is a reality check that Mars is going to give you. And exactly this attitude will be changing because it from your sign, Mars will be making you feel solitude. It will make you delve deeper into research. It will, overwhelm you with a lot of exciting problems in your life. And one interesting thing is that you are not minding all of this. You are enjoying this. You were thinking that, life had become boring and there is a sudden thrill now. There is some purpose to chase, right? And this purpose is something which is very, very meaningful for you at the moment because you are able to relate some vision, some goal that was missing in the past few months. Health issues have started to become normal unless you overexert yourself. In that case, fresh health issues and weight gains are going to come, but you're still feeling a little bit of mental, exhaustion, and you are just unsure what is exactly that you are supposed to, do about it. So what you need to do right now is just feel the need to move on, feel the need to work on yourself, feel the need to embrace the chaos, embrace this research phase, and think of this phase like a stepping stone about what your vision manifestations will look like in the next year. Mars will definitely support you in finding the answers to all these unexplained situations, experiences in this life. So it is very important for you to adapt to these changes, right? So you saw that some of you had experienced a complete shift in your friend circles. It is okay. You need to process it. You need to go ahead and embrace new people. Change is a constant eventually, ironically, in a lot of times. You're not feeling satisfied in certain areas of your life, and this is honestly not the time to take any drastic decisions about it. Also not the time to escape out of problems. Relationships might become problematic during this time. Some of you might have to go for a breakup too, in case you become very, very rude and rudimentary in the way you approach it. You will also see some changing stances in relationship, something that you would say that, you were a passive supporter earlier to these people and they feel that you are not putting too much effort in connecting back with them, and you're thinking that was sacrificing for such set of people actually worth it your time as well or not. Folks who are into studies and who are preparing for competitive exams are going to benefit a lot from all the transits, and they will be able to focus much better, especially after Saturn directing back into Aquarius. You will be seeing that you're gonna crack those top 10 tiers of your respective subject areas. Many of you will be actively traveling a lot as well, and in case you do not travel, you should. Now this is an interesting suggestion I would like to give, but as a Sagittarius person, you learn about new people the best when you travel with them. So when you space out with them, when your mind is diverted off, when you make the other people vulnerable enough to understand how they react to unexpected situations, that is the best way of understanding them. That is what activates your intuition. You will remain careless and you might not decide to take a lot of responsibility for your work and actions. As I mentioned, this is a research phase. So if somebody is trying to, get some outcome from you out of all of this, you're just going to deny that in front of their face that, no, I am still processing things. So don't you dare impose the expectation of getting a result immediately from me, but I assure you that I will be delivering it to the utmost of your expectations at a later point in time. All of this is happening because Jupiter being retrograde in Taurus is providing you with the opportunity to, increase your level of ambition and make sure that you move ahead with it. Stress has been piling a lot lately as you exited a Sadasathi as well, I would say. And since even though you have seen manifestations here and there, they did not exactly occur the way you had expected. Say, for example, you thought, okay, my relationship is going to translate into a marriage. Probably it got a little delayed. For example, you thought, I'm going to move to a new job, which is very lucrative, and you ended up going for a higher degree course. So you are now expected to take a job after finishing it. So things happened with you. Things happened for a reason with you. But now you're feeling something or somewhat similar to Pisces that, I'm just zoning out why things didn't happen the way I thought it. This is also a time period about realizations, which is very important. The value of people, the value of career, the value of work. You should definitely take out some time to detoxify and de-stress yourself. So do not feel guilty about taking that small weekend getaway or even a proper vacation type of a time around to make sure that you are able to multitask in parallel. If you are not able to give it all the efforts which you had thought about towards the goal that you planned, so taking out time might enhance this productivity later. So don't feel guilty about it. Live life full size, because Venus is coming to your sign, so it is almost unavoidable for you to not seek luxuries and comfort. Do not forget to feel blessed, because that is really, really important at the moment. A lot of you people have been going through some lazy phase, and you are also complaining that things are not moving ahead in its course. Unfortunately, they are moving ahead, but simply because it is not moving ahead as per your expectation or as per what you had visioned, that does not mean that the windmill is not moving forward. So you need to avoid seeking all of this validation about being perfect all the time, and rather you should feel more blessed and connected to yourself. Now, this is also a very good time for creative pursuits as Venus is coming to your sign. It is going to stay with you for the entire November. So, take some time off, search some new hobbies. If you were thinking about going for a rejuvenation activity, go ahead. If you're thinking about learning skateboarding, go ahead. If you're thinking about learning photography, doing that long lost hobby of dancing, or even pursuing sports like swimming, all of this is going to rejuvenate you and eventually contribute to a much better result in other areas and spheres of your life. So kindly go ahead with it and indulge into it and have a wonderful November. Please take care, and all the very best to all my Sagittarius friends. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November is going to fare out for Capricorns. Now, this is a good time again, back to back, two for two, I would say. I would definitely something usually unusual, because usually I have seen in the past few months Capricorns had been struggling quite a lot, but now the time is that you will be shining, and now you are just immune to all those small problems in life, and you are becoming a pro slowly in handling all of this, which is kudos to your energy and your direction that you worked over in the past few months. Financially, this is a good time around, and this month is going to bring in some very good investments, some good profits from the stock market. In case you are into business, probably some new clientele or client onboarding that is going to lend you fresh funding, some new sources of income in case you are having existing passive income sources, and you are going to save a lot of this money owing to your natural instinct of restrictions, which is another very valuable asset, your mindset. You wanted recognition from work, right? In the past few months, you were craving this, and this time you will get that due status, but with great responsibility, and a great amount of work is going to be coming over to your plate, and your efforts will be appreciated at the workplace, but unfortunately, your accountability is also going to be increased. You will set an exemplary example of responsibility fulfillment in your life, in your workplace. Now, the bigger issue is that problem of self sabotage about worrying, do I deserve this, or what exactly happened all of a sudden? And the moment you started doing this, questioning your conviction, you're going to be deprived of this moment. So kindly avoid that at all costs, please. Also, do not give up on your vision. Some of you might feel like, okay, now my workplace situation is restoring to a better thing. Some of you had made up your mind that I'm going to move out of this company, I'm going to go for a higher education, let's say, or something of that sort. Now, simply because suddenly you are getting some undue attention back at the workplace, you are rethinking about those decisions. Kindly do not. Make sure that your visions are still in place, and do not take this temporary relief as a complete indication that you can easily, uh, forgive all the misgivings that other people have done for you, because people are not easily trustable. That is what you have realized. This is a good month for love and relationships. It is going to thrive. Anyhow, your focus had shifted to your family after a very long time. You are trying to find this new work life and personal life balance, and you are reciprocating back to what your partner is asking for you. So I would say that continue doing that, and kindly do not force yourself into situations simply in the name of validations. Again, otherwise you are going to be get stuck in the same loop which you were already there in March. Problems have been acute in life, you faced all these challenges, and now you have been rewarded with different phase of life, I would say, in some way or other. So do not make this moment as a moment of ego or acknowledgement. Do not try to trauma dump on people and try to show them that I had so much struggles, I overcame all of that, and you should give that acknowledgement to me that I survived. Kindly don't do that. Your validation should come from your within self, not from people outside you. And many a times it might create an irritable atmosphere around you in case you go ahead and start doing this, because people are gonna feel like you are a little bit playing victim card and you don't deserve that recognition. So please don't self-sabotage, as I already mentioned. Never ever dare to, argue with your partner this month, especially with Venus in Sagittarius. Kindly avoid any heated debates. Try to prioritize thinking about your future together with them. Focus on your sense of belonging rather than making the other people count your achievement, and that is when love is going to thrive. Avoid debates at workplace as well. You might see that some people are trying to get even their work done via you, but you are not the designated right person to do it. Take a healthy boundary right then and there. Playing the victim honestly never suits you. You are subconsciously going to do this because given that Mars is debilitated in Cancer, and you should really, really avoid that. Focus on remaining private, focus on remaining reserved the way you are. Always remember that nobody cares in this world what all you struggled for and what have you achieved. You really want people to understand that you have struggled, but all people do is forever count the results that are associated with it. So either way, you are better off seeking out no validation from people and stick to your gut instinct, party with your own soul in one way or other, and stay away from negativity at all cost. Accept the incoming blessings. Make sure that you're financially well off this month. Make sure that your investments are full in place. Make sure that you do not lose vision of your what you're going to do next year onwards, and you're going to feel elated during this time around. Sometimes you do not experience that particular dopamine rush, but honestly, giving the transits, I would really say that it is much more of a possibility that you're going to find the right love also in case you're a single person. So there is going to be a cortisol burst as well, apart from a dopamine rush. So all the very best in either of the scenarios, and take care. Have a wonderful November to all my Capricorn friends. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November is going to fare out for the Aquarius folks. Now, similar to some other signs as well, this is going to be a Super Mario month for you too, with a lot of obstacles, but potential opportunities coming up your way. Saturn will be directing back within your own sign, so you can expect some new weird challenges coming up your plate, but you are going to convert all of these unnecessary small issues that were keeping you preoccupied to actually transition out to a much better future. You will find solution to each of these small issues, and you will try to take that divide and conquer approach, and then eventually you're going to adopt all of the results and solutions that you gathered from each of these small issues, consolidate into one, and then pave your way further. For example, in case you were super frustrated about job applications, you might be very happy to know that some of you might get some active interviews during this month around. Especially after Saturn directs back, the chances of you converting those interviews into a new job also increases quite often. And you had been procrastinating a lot of things in the earlier few months owing to a lot of issues that you were facing, some amount of gaslighting at work, some mental frustrations, some issues with relationships, some situations where you just sought out solitude and did not wanted to indulge into explaining your stance to people around you. All of this is going to go away now. Financially, this is going to be an average month. Whether I won't say it is going to be too much expenses, it is not going to be too much savings either. It is like middle of the spectrum. Neither you are here nor you are there. You might not get broke entirely, but you are not going to be happy about the earnings either. So pick up divide and conquer approach each of the task which is coming on your plate and try to convert that to your maximum of potential. Do a lot of discovery related activities this time around. For example, in case you run a business, think about where you can expand your business to, what product spin-off you can introduce, what is the new set of consumer base or changing user behavior regarding your business. If you are looking for a job, then see which phase of job you are in. Be a little bit more detail oriented. See if you are able to gather interviews. Are you able to convert those interviews? Identify the problems in converting those interviews. If you are not able to gather interviews, re-strategize your way of applying to job. Make some changes to resume, make some cold DMs to people, and just let go of all the past problems or achievements both together, and do not try to cling to them out of a need to be practical. Right, take a more realistic approach right now. You are more concerned about what is going to be in your bucket in the next few months than what has already happened or how much water has been wiped out from your bucket, right? Now, how do you approach these different situations? Say, for example, if someone said that relationships require a lot of time investment, but that is not working out for you, change your approach. Do not cling to the person. Just allow the other person to space out and realize your own value. If somebody said that, applying to jobs and, is not working out, then change your way of approaching it. Approach HRs directly. Make sure that you are able to take an initiative, because this initiative will be rewarded back in double by Saturn, given that it is going to be in your sign. Be very wary of your health at the moment, especially some of you are going to suffer from sinuses, seasonal cold, especially during the initial half of the month, right? With Sun also debilitated in Libra for quite a while, you might experience some mood swings. You might not feel that you are up to your best of efforts, and sometimes you might also find yourself a little bit entrapped about thinking what lies ahead for you. You would be planning out a lot of things, but remember, did you actually saw what you wanted to get as something manifested in the earlier few months? If not, then try to procrastinate this visioning process, this dreaming process, and stick to your best possible effort, which is execution. Do not hesitate also to pull the trigger to increase this execution, right? So let's say, for example, you thought, okay, I had not risked in experimenting with my business, then let me roll out some small new things and changes in business and see and study what is the reaction of market regarding that. If you had thought, okay, I have not applied to more than 50 applications in a job, go ahead and apply to 100 and see what's the reaction of market. Get to know your worth and value, and make sure you learn a lot by experiencing all these small factions of execution. So this will give a better clarity to you to identify where you are going wrong, right? Sometimes when you are having a contingency plan B in place, the probability of your plan A getting manifested increases, and Saturn is going to exactly support that, right? Saturn is going to tell you that when you are realistic, I'm going to reward you the double amount which you were expecting. So let's say if you thought about buying this risk instrument as a potential investment, then buy something along with that also, right? Let's say if you thought, okay, let me do options trading, then have a bond buy also, or invest in gold as well. In that way, you might actually start seeing better profits from your initial options trading investment as well. Try to expand the way you approach and think about things. Let's say if you were thinking that I am seeking potential marriage matches, then try to expand your choices of finding marriage matches apart from your own community. Just a random example. Or if you were thinking, if I'm applying for data scientist role, programming roles, then apply for MLEs also, apply for PMs also. Expand somehow, expand your range of search around it. Try to see what also resonates more with you. In that case scenario, the chances of you feeling better about giving it your all increases, and this would also help you come into acceptance that, yeah, I am being productive despite being slightly lazy. November is going to prove a lot of detrimental in whether you make or break things. So stay sturdy, experience everything with a lot of vigor. Otherwise, things can go the other way, which you might not desire as well. And stay on your toes this time around as well for the Aquarius folks. So please take care and all the very best. Have a wonderful November. Om Namo Venkateshaya. Let's quickly understand how the month of November is going to fare out for Pisces folks. Now, for the Pisces folks, this is ironically a better month compared to the previous past months. You are here to plan up a lot of more things. You are already seeing some things have already started working out for you the way you were expecting, I won't say, but it has started to work out for you. You would be planning a lot of things this month around, whether it could be as small as some sort of a trip that you were super obsessed about, or some sort of a new job that you were looking to switch towards, or any new manifestation or goal that you had desired, but you were not getting full time to contribute your entire efforts into that direction. All of that is going to come up in November, and you're going to complete that bucket list. You might plan a lot, but there is a different plan the higher authority has for you. And in the past few months, you have realized that trusting what is happening the best for you is a better way around rather than confronting problems in one way or other. So you are going to enjoy this month eventually, similar to being an escapist that you are already. For those who are employed, this is a good month. Some of you have already started seeing new appraisals coming your way. Some of you received bonuses, and some good financial gains are also seen from your investments, especially after the middle of the month when Saturn turns direct. And you will also feel that you are too busy fulfilling all these plans, and you will be executing them rather than not being an executor in the past few months. And you would try to now actually address the problems, address the elephant in the room related to a lot of knowledge acquisition, a lot of user discovery, a lot of areas where you felt like there was a creative spark which was lacking in the past few months. So all of this is going to come around. But after the middle of the month, it is possible that you may encounter, after all this parallel multitasking, as something which we call, like, let's say, a writer's block, when there is a sudden mental zone out or a phase about just thinking that, what am I even doing? You would be so engrossed fulfilling all the work and desires that you never took out time to actually sit down and think, what is it that you are desiring, and whether this desire is actually a real desire or not, or is it simply something of a reinforcement or a reassurance to you that things will eventually work out for me. And you're gonna question this feasibility to your mind. And this may sound ironical, but more or less this is how you're going to feel. And you will still continue doing all those activities because you are feeling that when you are busy, you are not feeling the need to overthink, and that is something which is positively working out for you. Now, in case you are not able to find the right answers to the questions which I already told you, do not be mad. Let the universe pull you towards what is supposed to be your actual attraction, right? Rather than, trying to take control immediately. Let's say, for example, if you are into a service-based career, expect some superb networking coming up to your platter. So you might even forge some new friendships. So be available for that. Be open to that. So do not, become like isolated or insecure about why I should interact with people. And simply because Saturn is directing in 12th from your sign, you might feel the need that, okay, let me not indulge into all of this, but honestly, that is going to benefit you. So be open to such opportunities, right? Let the universe pull you towards such opportunities. On top of that, I would say that you will be slaying competition this month around. Yes, contrary to the other months, you are back for an economic recovery. You are back into your business with a boom. You need to be careful about your new investments. Being realistic is the best approach at the moment. Avoid impulse. This is not the time to win it all. Rather, it is a time to survive through and eventually transition for better. And this is something you are already pretty much doing well. You are preferring to live in denial and feeling blessed when you are redirected to the right path. And I would say and advocate that, yes, that is like one of the best approach you can probably take at the moment. Exhaustion is going to move up only from here, and sometimes it is going to make you feel unwanted about yourself, and you might not even properly express it to other people. Isolation can become a problematic issue for you, so do not use isolation as a tendency to escape from people. Try to keep people around you because you actually enjoy being surrounded by people, and your loved ones are anyway going to approach you here and there, irritate you sometimes, taking care of you. Do not become, moody about that, and try to respond to each one of them on time. Your focus will not remain on relationships and love this month around. You may decide to sacrifice time for your loved ones, but that is more like, I would say, mechanically driven, that it is something expected out of you to fulfill as a responsibility, and to just, I would say, simply put a check mark on the bucket list for your partner or for your friends, that yeah, hey, I exist for you. But that is how you are feeling at the moment, and you are just not feeling so well connected about being hyperactive all of a sudden, because you are just not in the mood to prove your worth to others now. You simply want them to acknowledge you for your love and not for your efforts at the moment. So this might come out as cute to some people, you can say, but abrasive to others. So be very specific about how you are treating people around you. People have exited out of your life as well, some of them passively, some of them actively, and things are again manifesting for you because there were some planning here and there which you did in a very entropic fashion or in a very chaotic fashion, I could say, being secretive about your work and goals, especially in the past few months, and all of this is paying off finally. Your next idea would be to again make a quick to-do list about things which can be realistically executed this month around, and start working upon them, whether it is about a new job switch, whether it is about reconciling with a potential relationship that has been lost, or whether it is about anything else related to your health regime as well. Headache and indigestion can become a common friend for you during this Mars debilitation transit within Cancer, and chances are that in the last week of November or post the midweek also on the November, you'll see some exhaustion because of your commute. A lot of people would be commuting for work. Some of you might even decide to take some pilgrimages or long distance travel, since there are super busy plans when Sun will be going to Scorpio, Venus will be going to Sagittarius. So all of this is going to invite some amount of backlash to your health here and there. People are going to be super jealous of you. So do not try to indulge into confinement towards your plans regarding what you are up to into people, and try to appreciate yourself for your efforts at the moment. And you should first of all recognize the fact that despite all the mood swings, you were able to give a good shot, at least in approaching the problems in your life, and this universe is trying to reward the sincerity now. So go ahead and claim that royalty, right? And times ahead will be positive, but make sure that you stick to your words and you are again not escaping problems like you used to do. Otherwise things may go again haywire and you would be back to square one, which you won't really desire. So all the best for a wonderful November, and take care, all of my Pisces friends.